question from John. And he asks an interesting question. I've seen a couple other people ask this thing. I talked to a couple people just by passing, and I picked up on this. So he says, regarding Disney Plus content, especially Star Wars, and casual fan concerns drowned away by the raging diehard fans, is it because of the whole vocal minority problem and things like that? Now, I wanted to kind of gauge this with a couple friends of mine. So, a couple people I know that watched Obi-Wan, I just messaged them being like, hey, what'd you think? Not a single person I messaged had anything bad to say about one, Riva, two, a young sidekick Leia, three, any of the complaints that you see all the YouTubers screaming about with their upset thumbnails and all that. So I can pretty confidently say that I think most normal
I mean,
people didn't care.
yeah. I mean, of course, there's gonna be complaints because not everyone's gonna like certain things about the actual show, but usually, it's the vocal minority that keeps on repeating the things that, or assuming that everyone hates a certain thing for clicks or publicity. So it's nothing really new. What gets me is that they state it as a fact instead of an opinion. And when it doesn't come out as a fact, then they try and they backpedal or say something else.
Yeah. It's, I mean, what what are you gonna like say or do about it? Like, the
Um,
the loudest is always trying to push themselves as the we are many. It's like, no, you're not.
There's dozens of us.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like there's dozens of us, but like tons of people just want to hear what you have to say, and either they don't listen to all of it or they do. It just depends.
According to the vocal minority, the prequels are the greatest thing ever. That's the most profitable that Star Wars has ever been. In reality, the prequels are the least profitable Star Wars has ever been, and that's literally factually out there if you look at the actual toys and everything that happened. But like, they can spin it. They don't have to show a fact for it or anything. They can literally have evidence against whatever they're saying. They'll be like, but look at these three people that agree with me. It's like, yeah, there's always that. So
it's either that or they have insider knowledge from the scoops.
Yeah.
That they know that certain people are getting canned or they're getting switched on projects because fan feedback is at all-time low and they need to boost it back up so they can get their money back. I'm like, how do you know this?
I just want to know how many times Star Wars has died and how many times can Kathleen Kennedy get fired?
As many times. Well, I think it's as many times as people forget, which is probably every other day or week.
According to
the amount of videos those channels pump out, you're gonna forget quite quick.
I'll say, according to them, it's more than zero. And it's funny that they have that in their name because it should be ironic because it's been 0 times she's been fired. But, it's been the same story. But, there you go. Star Wars. I don't think anybody cares what they say. They can scream in a vacuum chamber, but the proof is out there with the numbers and what people are saying. Where, I mean, Obi-Wan was the most watched so far. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We got another Q&A. This one comes from John. I think people might notice a pattern now. But John asks, if Insomniac was to make a Moon Knight game, what would the gameplay and aesthetics be like? Now, pretty much...
Batman.
Yeah? I mean... look,
I'm trying to think here.
I would, like... you know how good Arkham Knight looks? Because that game legitimately looks good, but it doesn't play good. Like, I could imagine a nice, overcast, rainy New York. Like, it would look incredible with all the lights and everything, the different districts. I think there'd be something there, but I think you'd have to make it a little smaller scale, like one district in New York, and then pad out the inside so it has stuff to do.
Why are we taking Moon Knight away from London now? No.
I want to put him into New York just so he can interact with some characters because he goes there.
Oh, he's been established in London now. We're keeping him. He's ours.
Fine. He can run around London. They're jumping on top of
We're keeping this
trolleys.
American.
New York's had enough video games. Like, let's put it in London.
I think we probably would have to wait to see what they do with Wolverine to see how they would handle transversal with a character not as nimble as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because so far they haven't had a character like that, unless you want to count Ratchet, which isn't very much, because like for most of his games he was very, very slow.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying.
Well, if you go comics Moon Knight, he has like his own moon plane and everything, so you just fly everywhere.
I mean, but that will run into the problem of it's the new age bat tank. As I want to run around.
That's why you give him
a bat as a moon.
Just give him a grapple hook, okay? Just like Batman. Just give him a grapple hook. That's all you need.
Then he's white Batman. See the problem?
Why is everything gotta be?
They are white Batman. Right, there's 3 of them, or 5 depending if you go for the comics. Because
yeah. See, so I don't know. I would say my number one choice would be don't give it to Insomniac. I know that's like sacrilege because they make but it's like give it to another developer that needs a shot.
I mean, well, at this point, from what I found out, is it's whatever any studio or developer can come up with at this point. Mm-hmm. So Insomniac, if they want to make a Moon Knight game, they just had to make a pitch, and most likely it'll be greenlit because they proved themselves. Because people assume that Sony, the deal with Sony and Disney is the reason why we got the Spider-Man game. It wasn't. It was Marvel Games wanted to make like a AAA video game with a story narrative that they haven't had in a long time because of Activision.
Mm-hmm.
So they went with it had nothing to do with the Spider-Man deal in the movies. It was with Marvel Games, and they asked Sony.
I totally believe that.
Well, that's what it was. That's what they stated in I think it's the History of Video Games Volume 2 with the interviews between.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't have a script to read off of in the slightest for that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely buying there.
It's in an interview with some things at the time. I think it was like the CEO of Marvel Games when they interviewed him about it, and.
I trust them as much as I trust Andrew Garfield sitting in an interview saying, "I've never seen that picture before."
I swear, guys, I'm not in the movie. I'm the werewolf.
And well, then that's when they Sony said that they would choose Insomniac Games. They got a choice of whatever character they wanted. They chose Spider-Man. They hit it out of the park, and then they said they wanted.
They chose. Quotes, heavy quotes, Spider-Man.
They had the preference.
I mean, it's said that they have a choice to choose any character they wanted, and they said they wanted Spider-Man.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
And then after
I totally believe this interview.
Yeah. Oh, it's not. It's with it's with the interview at Insomniac. They said that they had the choice of any character, and then after that, they said that,
yes, you can either do Spider-Man. You can do Miles Morales. You can do Spider-Gwen.
And then
you can do Spider-Man 2099.
Well, it was from what they said. It was either if they're narrowing it down, it was either most of the people voted for Spider-Man. It was either that or Wolverine. But then after they got the things they did with Spider-Man, then they said, "Oh, let's go with Wolverine."
Yeah, makes sense.
And at this point, they can do if they wanted to do a Moon Knight game, they just need to come up with a good pitch. And most likely it will greenlit.
Disney's now not freaking walking in exclusive BS. Yeah. They're just like license it out and make the most money possible, which is what they should have been doing.
Yeah, and then like especially with the Marvel's Avengers game, most likely well, not at this point. I think it's Bracers Group that has the IP, has the studios that Square Enix sold off. Most likely, when it does go close down, they're not going to get another shot at a pitch because it went down the tubes. But for the most part, They're not locked. Marvel Games is not locked to any developer or company. It's whatever they can pitch to them. That seems like
Besides,
a good idea.
apparently, Spider-Man exclusivity when they choose to,
Well, yeah,
whatever
well
reason.
that one was purely
Yeah,
from PlayStation's perspective.
yeah. Well, smart enough, I suppose. So.
Yeah.